Hi guys, it's John here again. So today I'd like to read out another email from my newsletter that I send out every week. So this is sort of my way of learning how to use YouTube, and I figured that the at least safest way for me to do it was to read out what I've already written, which might sound a bit bad, but I'm quite camera shy, so it's already kind of tough for me to get in front of the camera. So this is my way of giving content to you guys that you might enjoy in a way that I can actually read it to you. So, as I said, this email that I sent out last Sunday, so 7th of December, I called Bird by Bird. So, Bird by Bird basically refers to it's the name of a book by a writer called Anne Lamott. And Bird by Bird. Tell you what, I'll read the email out and you'll understand maybe what the title actually means. Okay, so I sent this email out on the day that that Marvel dropped the first official trailer for Avengers 4. So they revealed the title. Things happened. I squealed like a child. That's actually true. I'm not even ashamed. I loved Avengers Infinity War, and at that time, I can't wait to see how the story ends. So, if you did see the trailer for that, then how awesome was it? And so many questions. If you haven't seen it, you definitely need to watch it. So I actually wrote a lot about the Marvel Cinematic Universe in my book, The 24 Laws of Storytelling, particularly the chapter on story series, which I titled Series Are a Right, Not a Privilege. So I praised the creators behind the MCU for so successfully building a franchise full of successfully building a franchise full of brilliant characters. So the question we beg to answer is, so how has the MCU done this? So what did they do right in their storytelling that the DCEU, so that's the DC movie universe, has apparently failed to do so in such a spectacular manner? So what I'm referring to here is the fact that now, obviously, the MCU has been hugely successful they've made billions of dollars. They've kind of redefined the superhero genre, so we have these really real and good stories, whereas the DC extended universe has kind of flailed really. It's completely flopped about, and they've tried to do different things. None of it really coheres. So it's interesting because as people who like us who are trying to write stories, if we can watch what other people are doing right and what they're doing wrong, then we can make our own stories better and sort of know what not to do. And that was something that I focused on in my book that I just published. So, the MCU started off with a flash. So, 2008's film Iron Man was a fun film with an unusual, for the time, post-credits scene featuring Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury and as the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. So the story hooked us into the MCU instantly by building up a likeable interpretation of Tony Stark. They did this again with Kenneth Branagh's Thor in 2011 and Captain America around the same time. So this post-credit scene that I'm talking about here, so at the time, this is something that films didn't really do. We'd watched this 2-hour film of Robert Downey Jr. playing Tony Stark, really likeable guy, and we kind of know that we're within the sort of broad Marvel universe, so we're aware that there are other characters, but we don't necessarily know that. And then at the very end, we get this awesome scene with Nick Fury, played no less by Samuel L. Jackson, even with the eye patch. And suddenly we think, oh crap, this is going to be cool. And it's that kind of effect, I think, that kind of subtle, where it's not necessarily shoved in your face throughout the film. There aren't sort of glib references to this sort of outer Marvel universe. They just tell a good story. So these stories got a couple of crucial things right. They were self-contained stories about likeable characters that didn't try to make glib references to the greater Marvel universe around them, as I just said. So they drew fans in, crucially. So they drew fans in rather than try to yank them by force. And by the time we got to Infinity War earlier this year, we'd already seen our beloved heroes come together, break up again in Civil War, and then forced to come back together again in this film to face a greater threat. And that film was a brilliant story. It's become kind of a frowned upon trope for writers and YouTubers to talk about the Marvel films, because they almost seem such easy targets in a way, and I think that's kind of wrong. And I think it's because the MCU stories are an excellent example, no, actually probably the best modern example of how to do a story series right. So as the MCU series shows, the key to success is to build up slowly. So be patient. Don't try to glibly insert references to outer elements that have no impact on the actual singular film that you're watching at that moment. Because if you do, your readers will be able to sniff it out instantly. So you only need to look at the 2015 Fantastic Four film, the attempted reboot, which was a complete dumpster fire. It's just not a good film at all. It was trying so hard to emulate some of these things, from trying to be gritty like The Dark Knight, which didn't fit with the tone at all. It was trying to reference things from the universe, and just an awful film, and they're just so cynical in its attempts to try and replicate the Marvel universe. And I really recommend you watch Chris Stockman's review of it. It's just amazing. It's so good. It's one of the best of his reviews. Just go and watch after this one. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, the chapter in my book on the series I called "Series Are a Right, Not a Privilege." So the original title for that chapter was "Series Must Be Built on Strong Foundations." So while I got rid of this chapter title and replaced it, I think that phrase still holds up when analysing the success of franchises like Harry Potter or Star Wars. So they all have one thing in common, all these story series. They feature characters we love. We can't keep our eyes off them, and they build them up over time. So patience and a flair for creating great likeable characters are key then, not necessarily big Hollywood budgets, although they certainly help, and definitely not cynical producers in suits trying to second guess and trying to sort of manipulate and sort of optimise the film based on what others have done. So these kind of stories and series are built gradually, piece by piece, paragraph by paragraph, word by word, or as Anne Lamott puts it in her book, bird by bird. And that's what the title means. So this is how all classics of literature and film are constructed, whether or not they're even in stories. They're built up with a meticulous eye for detail and a nearly glacial patience. Now, what I'm referring to here is the fact that it's about looking for the long game, and so many people nowadays, especially creators, are trying to get instant success, when really it's about trying to learn as much as you can and trying to build things up piece by piece, as I was saying in the last paragraph. So, if you can be in it for the long game, if you can keep up the work consistently, bird by bird, you stand far above most wannabe writers and creators. So contrary to popular belief, great works of creative writing aren't created in a single flash of genius by the tortured artist. No. She creates great works by adding to a story on a regular basis. So she treats it like a job. She works on a novel or other book every day. She doesn't necessarily have to write the entire thing in a single day or have some creative genius. She's planned, she's organised, she adds to it regularly, and she has the discipline to see her projects through to the end. So be like her and focus on the work, because that's all we can really do. Okay guys, so that was the reading. I hope you enjoyed it. Any comments, leave them below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll leave all the links in the description below. Thanks, bye.